guys and gals, Buffalo here. I was recently contacted by a marketing representative for Trulock choke tubes. They asked me if I'd be interested in trying out one of their chokes, so I requested the Boar blaster. I requested it specifically because it's designed for double-aught and triple-aught buckshot, something that I just happen to have plenty of on hand. So this choke is a stainless steel choke made from 17-4 stainless steel. It's got a black oxide finish on it. It is a full choke. This one comes in at 703 on the muzzle end, 703 thousandths of an inch inside diameter is what I mean when I say that. So that puts it at full choke. With this Beretta Extrema 2, it has a nominal bore diameter of 733, so 30 thousandths constriction is going to give us a full choke. So if we look on the box of some of this buckshot, I think it's the Remington, they actually say may be used with any choke, but best results with full choke. So this is a full choke, and we'll compare it some to the factory full choke for this Beretta. You can see the difference here in the length. Now these Trulock chokes, if you've been around shotgunning much, you've probably heard of Trulock. They make a lot of good choke tubes, very high quality, very well machined. One of the particular things I wanted to show on this choke tube that I found really interesting, and I haven't seen it on any other chokes. Normally a choke tube has a smooth cone as it brings in from cylinder bore down to the final constriction, but this thing actually has steps in it. It's stepped from the cylinder bore down to the final 703 diameter. So it's kind of different than anything I've seen, and I like to try out stuff like that, different things, and just see how they work. My first thoughts are that those steps are just going to clog up with plastic fouling from the wads, but I may be wrong. We're going to try it out and see. I've got a 4x4 target, 4 foot by 4 foot I should say, set up down range. It's nothing more than just brown packing paper. Paper like that is really cheap, and it's easy to see your patterns on it. And I've got several different types of buckshot here. I've got some 3-inch double-aught buck 15 pellet. I've got some 2 3/4-inch 9 pellet double-aught buck. Got some 3-inch 10 pellet triple-aught buck. If you guys aren't familiar with triple-aught, double-aught buck is basically 33 caliber lead balls, and triple-aught is 36 caliber, so it's about 30 thousandths larger in diameter than double-aught, which carries the energy a lot better. It gives you more, bone breaking power when it hits the target. Of course, the trade-off is you get fewer of them in a particular size of shot shell. Now I've got some 3-inch Magnum stuff here, 18 pellet double-aught buck. This is Winchester Super X, and these are also 3.5-inch 18 pellet double-aught buck, and this is Federal Vital Shock. All this stuff just has the regular wads in it. I didn't use any of the flight control or anything like that. I want to see how this tube works with just regular wads. I don't think the flight control would be a good idea in these, because that stepped design would probably strip the wad back. I'm just guessing. And the flight control, of course, is designed to stay with the payload quite a bit downrange. A lot longer than a standard wad. So I think that would work against the flight control. I may be wrong on that. I don't know. We may test that later. But today we're just using standard wad stuff. That being said, we're going to shoot at 50 yards. Normally you pattern a 12 gauge at 40 yards, but I want to stretch it out just a little bit. I've got 50 yards here that I can use, so we're going to take advantage of all of it. Let's get started. All right, so in goes the choke tube. This is the first time I've ever fired through this choke tube. I have no preconceived notions of how this thing is going to perform. I'm just going to put it hand tight, and we're going to pull it out and check it and see how much plastic wadding is stripped off in those steps. We're going to start out just 2 3/4-inch 9 pellet double-aught buck. We are at a laser rangefinder measured 50 yards here. Double check it. Right on the money. This is where we're going to take all the shots from. Now, if you were patterning your shotgun at home, you want to, one shot from one brand of ammo is not going to tell you much. You want to shoot 5 to 10 patterns with a particular brand of ammo, just to make sure you're not getting an oddball pattern. A bad ammo can throw a good pattern every once in a while, and a really good ammo may throw a bad pattern every once in a while. But that being said, in the interest of keeping this video short, I'm probably only going to shoot 1 or 2 of each load onto the patterning paper. So let's get started. Can't tell from here, so let's go check it out. Okay, I only see, and I'm not sure how well the video camera's picking these holes up on this brown paper. Maybe easier, I don't know if this will help or not. Maybe easier to see it from the back side because the paper's blowed out. I only see 8 pellets here. This one is probably 2 pellets. So I think we got them all. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this one appears to have had 2. From the farthest 2 pellets apart, we got 20 1/4 inches. Don't like the big voids in the target, but still, you got to think we're at 50 yards. So pretty good distance for just a regular old loader double-aught buck. Let's go try something else. Just wanted to pull that out and look at it. There's actually no plastic fouling in there. I expected those steps to grab the plastic, which it still may do after we shoot a few rounds through it, but right now, after the first shot, it looks good. All right, so now I've got a 3-inch Magnum, 15 pellets of double-aught buck, again, Remington. Let's see how it does. A lot more recoil, I can tell that already, but let's walk down and see how it looks on paper. Okay, so we got a larger pattern. Let me turn this around again. I think that helps. So we got a larger pattern here. I do see all 15 strikes. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and the 15th one hit right here on the edge. So we got all 15 pellets. Distance between the farthest 2 pellets, 3 feet. So we got a 36-inch pattern at 50 yards with 15 pellets, and they're fairly evenly distributed here. Looks like a pretty good pattern. Still looks good. I'll let you guys, I know you can't see that. When we're done here, I won't be cleaning the tube. I'll let you guys have a look at it, get it up close so you can see what I'm seeing. I'm surprised that none of the wad is catching and sticking in those steps. And you can see patterning at this distance why I chose such a large patterning board, 4x4, and it's just large enough for catching all those pellets. And the Beretta Extrema 2 is doing a great job of putting those pellets right in the middle of that patterning board, so that's making it easy for me. Now we're going to jump. I'm going to jump up and do some of this 3.5-inch Magnum, 18 pellets of double-aught buckshot. I'm sure this is going to feel good on my old shoulder. Not really looking forward to that, but Let's see what it does. Gosh, I feel like I just got in a fight with my shotgun. Let's check that recoil out again here in slow motion. All right, guys, so that's an impressive pattern at 50 yards. We do have one, again, let me flip this around. I'm sorry about that. We do have one void here, a little hole in the pattern. But all in all, at 50 yards, that's a really good pattern. I'm surprised, actually. That's 18 pellets, and the farthest two pellets apart, 30 inches. I mean, you're gonna, more than likely, you're gonna bring down whatever hog you're shooting at that kind of, with that kind of a pattern at 50 yards. That's impressive. I'll have to come back and probably won't do it on video, but I'll have to come back and do some more patterning to see what kind of consistency I'm getting with that particular shot shell. All right, let's move on. Okay, so far so good. Got another 3.5 inch shell here. This one is the Winchester Super X, 18 pellets again, double-aught buck. Gosh. Woo! Would not want to shoot those all day. All right, so go ahead, we'll flip this around. What have we got? Doesn't quite look as good at first glance as that Federal pattern. Counting 16 holes, but some of these, a lot of times with that just regular lead double-aught buck, those pellets will stick together. Some of these could be double hits, not real sure. But I do count 16 holes, and the distance between the farthest two, 38 inches. So, not a bad looking pattern, kind of evenly dispersed there, but didn't quite pattern as well as the Federal load did. So we've got one more load to shoot. That's a load of triple-aught buck from the Remington. We'll see what it looks like. All right, so last pattern with this choke tube. This is 10 pellet Remington triple-aught buck, 3-inch Magnum. Let's go take a look. Farthest two pellets apart are 25 inches. It's a really good looking pattern here. We've got a couple of flyers here. But overall, you guys have to remember we're patterning at 50 yards. That's a pretty good distance for a shotgun. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look over these papers and pick out my two best patterns. And we'll fire those same loads through the factory full choke, which the factory full choke has the exact same constriction as the Boar Blaster. The difference being the Boar Blaster is longer, it has a longer constricted area, and of course it's got that stepped design in it. So we'll compare it to the factory full with the two best patterns, and we'll use the same loads with that we've used here and see what they look like. Okay guys, so if you've hung with me this long, congratulations. I've probably bored you to death by this point. But here's where it gets interesting. I've removed the Trulock Boar Blaster choke tube, put my factory full choke. Again, that's the same constriction as the Boar Blaster. So will the other features on the Boar Blaster make a difference? I've chosen to shoot the 2 3/4 inch double aught buck because that was our smallest pattern overall. Even though it wasn't the prettiest, it was the smallest. And I'm also going to shoot another round of the Federal 3 1/2 inch double aught buck with the 18 pellets. That was, in my opinion, the best pattern. So we're going to shoot these two and compare those two targets directly to the two targets we shot with the same loads with the Boar Blaster choke tube. It feels nice to go back to those 2 3/4 inch shells again. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the 3 1/2 inch 18 pellet from the factory full choke. Then we'll compare those two targets head to head. All right. All right guys, so before I look at these targets and close this video out, I just wanted to show you this choke tube. It is kind of dirty. It's got some plastic fouling in it, but actually nowhere near the amount that I thought it would have by it having those steps in there. I thought it would be a lot dirtier than what it is, but I did want to show you guys that. Now I know this video camera's not picking it up as well as I would like for it to, but you can kind of see in there and see you can see some of the plastic residue, but that's normal for any choke tube. It's just not as filthy as what I was expecting. Okay, so I've got all 4 of those targets laid out here on the ground, just kind of studying them and looking them over, and I can see this is the factory full choke with the 2 3/4 inch 9 pellet Remington load, and this is the Trulock Boar Blaster with that same load. And I can definitely see, and you should be able to tell too probably, this pattern is smaller, it's tighter than with the factory full choke. So the Boar Blaster did its job with that load. Now when we get over here, looking at this 3 1/2 inch 18 pellet Federal load, there's really not much difference. They're very similar patterns. Size wise, they're both dispersed about the same evenness. So very similar pattern there. So hard to draw any conclusions from this. And that's another thing I want to talk about. I don't want you guys to draw any hard, firm conclusions from this patterning video. You have to keep in mind this is only one shot from each choke tube. This could have been my best pattern out of 10 different patterns, or it could have been my worst pattern out of 10 different patterns. And I could be comparing it to the opposite over here. I could be comparing the best pattern out of 10 shots against the worst pattern and not even know it, because I haven't shot enough to clearly get a consistency from these patterns and see what's actually going on. So, however, this video is a good starting point. I do know that both of those loads, especially that Federal load, I really like the way that it looks. So that's something that I'm going to get back out here and pattern some more with and shoot 8-10 different patterns with it and see how it looks overall and see if we get better or worse, or if this is actually the average pattern. So that's all I got, about this choke tube. So hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it informative. I'll talk with y'all again soon.